All right, and welcome to part 13 of the Let's Play The Last of Us series. I'm joined here by my brother Josh.
Hello.
And if you were watching last time, then you know that we finished up um, the settlement with his brother. And now we've moved here to the University of Eastern Colorado. So this is the second half of fall. If you haven't been watching, just a heads up, we could potentially talk about spoilers, because this is intended for somebody who's played the game before.
Part is really cool. It's a very pretty campus and it's cool to see the way they did it.
Okay. None of these buildings look like a mirror to me.
Well, we'll head to Central Grounds.
Isn't this one of your favorite parts of the game?
Yeah, this is one of my favorite parts of when I played through it, but I don't really remember why. So I think it's just kind of cool. Like, I mean, it's a very different environment, and it starts off slow. And it's like a kind of an opportunity to investigate a a place that has obviously gone through this kind of apocalypse type thing,
Right.
but you're not constantly getting attacked at the beginning of it.
It's also cool, it's the first zone that I feel like Joel and Ellie have gotten through a lot of their, so to speak, arguing with each other, and, Joel's finally opened up with her when he, tells her that he's keeping her with him and he's not sending her off with Tommy. So I feel like it's the first time, they're not as vulnerable around each other and not, just arguing constantly.
Yeah, it does feel like you were saying, like it feels like they've kind of committed to the cause at this point. Like they've committed to taking this journey together now. So there's not like that threat of that in the back of your mind.
There was a lookout here.
This part's also really cool because you get that eerie feeling, since you are alone for a lot of it, you don't run into anybody, and it's definitely just eerie because you get scared of why is there no one? There's the empty lookout right there, and you're like, why is an empty lookout? Where are the fireflies?
Yeah, and it's like where you're starting to kind of get some of those hints that maybe things aren't quite what they seem here, because you've got I mean, you would expect, if the fireflies were here, you would expect to see some traces of it.
Right.
Getting chilly.
I like that part there when she's like, you guys were idol worshippers, and he's like, when it comes to football, hell yeah.
Hey, over there. Is that it?
Oh, I was thinking about, in an earlier video I was talking about how you always see something off in the distance every zone, how you see the Capitol building or the bridge in Pittsburgh. I didn't even think about it. That's the one in the university. You see the mirrored building that you keep moving towards.
You think are there?
I keep that element alive.
Yeah, and that's something I really appreciate from the Souls Bloodborne series,
Mm-hmm.
is how much of the environment they are always rendering, and it's like you can always kind of see other locations from where you're going, so it kind of gives you that sense of, here's my destination.
Right.
Yes, I don't want him running off. I'll be right back.
So it kind of gives you like a visual goal,
Right.
which is cool. And plus, I think it helps to create the sense of the world, because I mean, like in real life, if you were walking around, you would see buildings in the distance, right? So
Right. This is the first time we get to play with a flamethrower, and holy crap, does infected become a joke after you get the flamethrower. But did
So
you alert him?
how much how hard is it to get ammo for the flamethrowers you go through?
I'll tell you, the flamethrower is one of those guns that they just throw ammo at you. When you first get a gun in the game, they always throw a ton of ammo at you, and then you get to Utah once again, when you get to the tunnels and you're fighting the infected, and it's once again they just dump flamethrower ammo. I've never gone through a single game where I was out of flamethrower ammo.
Yeah, so I guess if they are doing that, then it does kind of trivialize the infected at that point.
Yeah. Like, even the bloaters become significantly easier. You don't have to use Molotovs on them as much because you just have a giant flamethrower.
Although, really, if you think about it, as we progress through the game here, the infected become a lot less part of the experience.
For sure. I think that, like, the only time that they aren't trivialized left in the game is when you're solo Ellie.
Yeah.
Because they are definitely tough there.
I mean, there's some in the winter sequence, and is there even any in the spring?
Oh yeah, but it's only the first part of Utah.
Oh yeah, I do remember that now.
Like
Okay, yeah.
when you and Ellie are trying to get to the Fireflies, but it's a very easy fight by comparison to earlier like encounters.
But it seems like lesser as you move through the game, and
Yeah.
it's like
the
I don't know if
third
that's
of the game is dominated by them.
I don't know if that's the case of like as you go west, the infection might not be as bad, or if that's just the gameplay choices that they made.
I feel like it's more the gameplay choices because like I feel like they just talk about it more about how like when the story gets more in depth, you're starting to fight people more. I don't feel like there's like less in Colorado than there is in Boston.
Yeah, I mean, clearly all this stuff is still abandoned and it's still apocalyptic
Yeah.
out here. So, I mean, maybe it's more so you just go to more like rural locations.
Yeah.
So,
First sign of the Fireflies. So they were here at some point.
Oh, nice. Well,
I guess I can't download Madden.
oh yeah, I forgot that we're playing on your PS4. I thought that was mine.
The sad part is I haven't even like touched Madden since I bought it.
I'll be right back.
I'll be here. There it is.
This part's really cool. There's a lot of fun notes. Like, I guess fun's the wrong word. I've done that a couple times. It's fun to me just because it's a cool story. But kind of the some of the students talking about their survival and like how they're trying to group together and like where they're going to go and things and what supplies they have. It's just interesting. It's like another perspective of another part of the world, how they were affected by the infected.
Yeah, and I think it's neat. Like, obviously we're going through like a dormitory here, but just kind of going through the different parts of a college and things like that. I mean, it's like one of those locations that, I think like is maybe a little bit more universal. Because I mean, even if you haven't been to college, like like parts of it you can relate to, like with high school and things like that.
Yeah.
But like for example, like I mean me, like I've never been to Pittsburgh, so it's like, I've been to Boston, but it's like, so Pittsburgh in a location in itself doesn't really
Mean anything to
me or whatever. And it's like, obviously, like I haven't been to this fake university, but having been to college, I mean, it's kind of like you can kind of relate and kind of picture in your mind, like, what if this had happened at my college or something.
Oh yeah,
like that.
it'd be a whole different story because you'd be away from the family and such, and you'd be the first time you're an adult. But like, I'm sure as most people know, when they're like 18, you feel like you're an adult, but it's not the same as like when you get into being like in your mid 20s and things.
Yeah.
This part was really fun the first time of figuring out the pattern of trying to stealth this.
Yes, I actually did like this part quite a bit.
Although the first time I successfully stealthed it, I think I told the story early on in the recording that I tried to then just break down the door with the bloater just sitting there asleep, and that does not work. The bloater comes and kills you before you can get the door open.
I think like maybe like rewatching this, part of the reason why like I really enjoyed the university was because like the 2 sections prior to this, it's not that they didn't have infected, but like, you know, like Tommy's section like is like all human, right? And the section before that, Pittsburgh, is largely human.
Right.
You know, so it's like it's the time that you get back to being like in a stealth section, you get back to being with the infected and such,
Right.
and it's just it's kind of cool to like get back to that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely one of the most fun infected sections. And then Colorado, like the next part, the winter part, has a really good one with Ellie.
Yeah, and I mean I know winter is probably most people's favorite.
All right, big boy.
For some reason, I just thought of jumbo marshmallows and making s'mores.
By the way, it's not a good sign when you burn a bloater who's supposed to be infected for a long time and he's got a firefly pinned.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like another
clue.
Another clue that, you know,
Something's amiss.
maybe things aren't what Joel's hoping for.
Yeah.
Yeah, that should hold. Wasn't that pretty much what it was doing just a second ago?
Yeah.
This section also kind of feels a little bit similar to like the hotel
Yeah.
in Pittsburgh.
For sure. Now, I would like to stay at these dorms. These are like, bathrooms are massive. It looks like there's not too many roommates.
Yeah, I remember thinking that as well. I was like, man, these are like some really big bathrooms that they've gotten here.
Like, I don't even think, like, actually, I can guarantee to you right now, the bathroom I currently have is nowhere near that big.
Yeah, I mean, even like my bathrooms are probably not quite that big or about that big, but it's like I'm in a house,
Yeah.
you know? So it's like, and I mean, I didn't stay in a dorm at college, but I don't imagine that most of the bathrooms are that size.
I'll tell you, I did stay at a dorm in college. I had 2 roommates, only 1 bathroom, and it was about the size of, like, any typical, like, it's literally about the size of a toilet and a shower, what it can take up.
Yeah.
They're small. And yeah, the freshman dorms, you had literally 3 people in 1 room. Eventually, like, I got an apartment style one, and they had 2 bathrooms.
I always
We
think
got
it's
fancy.
interesting in this world. It's like Ellie doesn't even think to say, so do you have any trouble?
Yeah, like not worried about like if
Yeah,
there's
or like
infected.
Joel doesn't feel the need to mention like, oh, you have no idea what I just went through.
Just fought a bloater. Only the second one we've encountered this whole game.
Those clickers. I think they were fireflies?
Oh, I guess she knows there was clickers though.
Why would they have infected so close to the lab?
Well, Billy,
Yeah, how
you
does she
must
just
form
know
things.
that?
Maybe they're doing the same.
Yeah, I could see that.
Even Ellie is suspicious here. Like, I feel like she knows something's wrong, and Joel's just trying to make her feel better. It's a cool building.
It actually reminds me of
No guard.
at least one of the buildings, not on that scale, but at my college,
Oh yeah,
they have a building that kind of looks like that.
my
It's
college.
got a lot of glass and things.
My college was mostly. I mean, it's SCAD in Savannah, so it's mostly just a bunch of old buildings that have been turned into classrooms. So it's not really like a campus. It's throughout the city.
What's funny is even though obviously SCAD is in Savannah, I was about to say I feel like that is in Atlanta in general.
No, not as a student, at least.
Why not?
This dialogue's good too. You start to
I
get
had Sarah when I was pretty young.
a little bit more insight into Joel's youth, talking about
Were you married?
Sarah and his wife.
Okay,
So much?
too much.
Well, and it's also, it goes to show like how their relationship and how Joel has grown in between the times that we've seen him. Because remember, he didn't even want the picture of Sarah.
Yeah, now he's willing to make
like
Sarah name.
he was like super pissed when Ellie brought her up, and like now they're talking about it.
Yeah. And it's like he won't go too deep. Like he won't talk about his either ex-wife or deceased wife. They never say, but they are at least. He at least says that he's married and had Sarah when he was young. Like he's bringing it up at least. She's getting some progress.
Right.
I wonder if we'll ever find out about that in Last of Us 2, about what happened to Joel's wife. Did she just leave them, or did she die, or what? You know, I remember the first time I did this, I was thinking, like, this can't be a good idea to take this downhill.
All right, not what I had in mind, but it'll do.
Oh, and the creepiness of this section is really cool.
All right, so now we're in the science building proper, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's look around.
I like how Ellie's now got the rhythm. She's, like, telling you to look around for supplies.
Yeah, it's almost like automatic at this point between
Yeah.
the two of them.
They've really gotten to, like, the swing of things with each other. Like, they know the other one's patterns and what they need to do to survive, and everything's cool.
Yeah, and I think that's why like I appreciate this section so much, because it feels like this is them in their kind of, for this game, like this is them in their kind of prime.
Yeah, because then by the time, like, they're separated for all of winter, and then by the time they get back together in spring, they're both a little off. This
Yeah,
is the
and
time
I
they're
mean
in the
the
most in sync.
and the spring section of the game is really like kind of unlike most of, or at least most of spring is a lot different than the rest of the game.
Right.
So
So yeah, this is the most pure, like, Joel and Ellie time, like, of what they're like that you'll get. Just scream yoo-hoo fireflies, that works.
Keep it down until we figure out what's going on.
I forget, like, that you had to find tools to upgrade certain types of parts, and that was one of the tool spots was in there.
yeah, I mean, I guess as many times as you've played it, and you probably played it quite a bit on versions of New Game Plus.
Yeah, you forget that that's
You
like
kind
a
of
thing.
forget some of the mechanics, since you, like, for example, like we haven't really used upgrade tables
Yeah.
in this playthrough.
I just clicked on to double check that the flamethrower was fully upgraded, but yeah.
because I mean, like, you don't need to. So
Yeah.
Stay close.
one fun piece of trivia about this section of the game.
Mm-hmm.
was I don't know if you've heard of the game Firewatch, but
No.
it's kind of like it's an indie game, and it's kind of a, for lack of a better way of describing it, like an adventure game. It's like one of those games, kind of like Gone Home,
Right.
where like there's no like action or anything like that in it. It's more so just like you basically you play this guy who's in a fire tower in the middle of the woods,
Right.
and just he goes through. There's like a whole story between you and somebody else in one of the other towers, like having
Right.
conversations and things like that. But at one point, I think it's a sweatshirt he finds in the woods, and it says the University of Eastern Colorado, and it's got big horns on it, and it's like
Is that a
green and
reference to this
yellow,
game? I
and
take
it's
it.
and he makes a comment of, why would somebody print out a sweatshirt to a fake university? And it's a reference to this game or whatever. So
That's pretty cool.
and I think the other character in the game, like at one point says later in the game, "Go Bighorns."
Yeah.
It's probably clickers, right?
Oh, clickers don't hide.
Somebody have to set that light up that obnoxiously.
On their way out of here, they're like, "Let's put the most obnoxious light up."
Yeah.
Well, maybe in all that research, they turn into fucking monkeys.
So interesting, unless I'm incorrect here, I'm pretty sure the only animals in the entire game that are infected are monkeys.
Yeah, and I think that's because they specifically infected them. But also, I mean, they don't really look that infected the same way. Like, I know they're carrying the virus, but they didn't turn into, like, clicker monkeys or something.
Yeah.
They're looking for the fireflies. They've all left.
Yeah, no shit.
I'm dead. Or I will be soon. Got me some time to reflect. Been years that felt like we were... Fucking thing was a giant waste of time. I'm not gonna do this anymore. Come on. Looking for the others. They've all returned to St. Mary's Hospital in Salt Lake City. You'll find them there. Still trying to save the world. Good luck with that.
Do you know where that is?
I know the city.
Is it far?
It ain't close. I mean, on horseback.
What? The fireflies?
Get down!
Oh! What the fuck are these guys?
All right, so I think we'll go ahead and end this video right here. I'm gonna try to break the university into two parts here. So these two parts might be a little bit shorter, but basically we're gonna try to do a couple videos for the university, and then 2 or 3 for winter and 2 or 3 for spring at this point. But with that said, if you did enjoy this, please like, share, and subscribe. We do Let's Plays, reviews, and a series of videos on introducing games to kids. But with that said, we will see you in the next video.